Today's video is a different video, right? I'm gonna sit back and just talk with y'all, right? No cover, no nothing, right? No cover, no thumbnail, nothing. And I'm gonna be blunt, I'm gonna be real, right? I just thought about it. And it all started with a question that I asked myself. It was like, what did I learn this week? And I sat there and I pondered for a little bit. I sat there and I wondered, right? You know. And I started off with definitely strength in numbers, right? Here's the thing. I learned that this is a daily thing. This is a daily process. It's not a one and done. It's not a 2-week stunt and then you're fine suddenly. It's a practice. Every morning, every night, we're going to keep it in though. Every morning, every night, you're in the mud, so to speak. But the difference is between when people say trudging through the mud, that's a J.I.D. bar, trudging through the mud, I'm going to stop. You're trudging through it as peacefully as you can in that particular moment. That doesn't mean like you're the happiest man on earth. You're you know what I'm saying? You're the prettiest woman on earth. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing all that. You know what I'm saying? You're not just blissfully going through it. You're aware, but you're keeping your reactions to how you want them to be. You're controlling your reactions, you know? Is it perfect? No, but you have to keep going. And you have to truly return to the things that center you and remind you of who you are and who you say you are. And I sat there and when I wrote that and I paused for a second, I thought, how do I want to take this, right? Then I said, there are many tests and I'm going to be real, right? You're going to fall. You may fall at times, you know, it happens, right? And I don't like saying you failed or you lost because I don't really carry those words in my vocabulary anymore. Like I don't hold the words, the connotations of those words in my vocabulary. But what matters truly is what comes after, right? It's not always about the fall. It's always about whether you get back up and you allow yourself to come back. And it's about whether you could turn it into a lesson and eventually a future win. Because if you reform a loss into a lesson that can further you into another win in your life, that's a lot better than you failing, right? Because you know that a win is around the corner. This is something to teach you, right? Because as humans, when we go through emotional or difficult periods, we become very one-track minded. We zoom all the way in. But sometimes we need to zoom out and read the history. Not how we feel in the moment, not what our minds is thinking currently at that moment, but read the proof, read the evidence, ignore what you may feel in the moment, ignore what your inner monologue wants you to believe, ignore the temporary emotional weather, because most of the time the history always tells a different story than what you may feel or hear or think in that moment. And I was saying and I really just wanted to just record this after I finished it. But as I was saying, most importantly, I don't think it's always about picking yourself back up. I think it's about how fast you can return to yourself, you know? I think that's more important than even picking yourself back at all. How fast can you return to who you say and who you are, who you're trying to become? That's the real question. How fast can you return to you? And I don't think that's just what I've learned this week. I think that's what I've learned this year. At an earlier point in this year, I could have said 2026 was a bad year. In a different mindset, I could have said 2026 was a terrible year, right? And now I truly think that it is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's crazy. If you know what I've been through this year, you'd be like, man, what the hell are you talking about, Mino? You know what I'm saying? But because everything that happened taught me something. And because of that, I no longer carry the same pressures and weights from those situations. I know who I am, to be blunt. And are there still waves of uncertainty? Yeah, of course there are. Doubt? Hell yeah. Emotional tension? Are you serious? Yes. You know what I'm saying? At times, right? Thoughts? Boy, what? You know what I'm saying? Of course there are thoughts, man. Why wouldn't there be, though? We're human beings. We've allowed ourselves to expect this perfect thing. Like, we need to be perfect. We need to think perfectly. Our emotions need to be perfect. And no, man. No, nigga. No. I'm gonna swear. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? No, bro. No, man. No. As I've continued moving forward, I started to realize something, bro. Those things that I just mentioned, they don't control me anymore. That's the liberating thing. That's so cool, man. I still have the vision. I still know who I'm becoming. I still know the direction. Maybe I'm not 100% of the day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not 100% of the day am I having the vision, still knowing who I am, still knowing the direction. You know what I'm saying? There are times where I doubt myself, but I'm able to return to it quickly. But more likely, more 75 or 80% of the day. And that's, honestly, that's enough. You know, the ego wants perfection, but at the end of the day, I'm content with progress. More importantly, I'm excited to see more progress. Because I know that's all I have in store for me is progress. Because the goal isn't to become someone who never fails. The goal is to become someone who always returns. Return faster, returns wiser, returns stronger, and continues to move forward. That's the whole point of this journey. You're not supposed to enjoy this. There are going to be times where you have enjoyment, of course, but this is a journey of fighting through everything, even if it may seem impossible at that time. This is what this journey truly is about. And that's fun. That's the fun. That's so fun. That's so fun. That's the most fun. I've been through so many things only this year alone. Last year, man, this year, that could have knocked me down. I could have never gotten back up, bro. I could have not been here. I could have been a whole different person. But I said, no, I'm standing firm in who I am, and I'm going to work through this. And I feel like I've came so far, and I know I have much further to go. And I don't know who's going to ever listen to this. I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to add no cool thumbnail like my last batch of videos. None of that. I'm just going to be real and be blunt and be honest. I love y'all, and I know y'all could do it. Peace out.